Good evening, ladies and gents, and I gotta figure out what the double HE hockey stick is up with this light bright screen. But this is HGO here back with another TV DVD review, however you want to call this now, because I've been so busy lately. I really haven't watched most of my videos and you know clinged on to the motto. Um, oh, excuse me. This one is the OC season one. Uh, it's one of my favorite drama television series that doesn't have nothing much to do with any kind of fiction. And plus, I watched it on TV when it was out at the time in 2003. Um, what clinged me most to this show, well, for one, it was the main character. I related with him the most. He was an outsider, living with a bunch of rich people, and he was given a second chance dealing with his, situation. He was a good kid, but he was just in a bad, environment, living in Chino, California, and he's living in the Newport Beach with these rich people. And again, like I said, I can relate because I've been in living in this bad scenario or environment before, and once I moved and went somewhere else, I excelled, greatly, and I was pretty happy about it. So, you know, I remember, a little bit what Tupac was saying, how he was into, reading poetry and Shakespeare and all that. And he would try to tell his boys, and his boys probably laugh at him like, "You like that crap," and all that. But the OC really stands for Orange County, and ironically, the huge funny ironic thing was that they didn't go with this title because I think a year before the TV series had premiered, it was a movie called Orange County starring Tom Hanks' son, Colin. But ironically, Colin appears as a guest star on one of the episodes, so that was kind of a funny, parallel. There was some more guest stars on this episode. On season one. Paris Hilton was one, and um, it was another one too. I'm trying to think. Uh, I want to say that the indie rock uh, band called Rooney, and I'm about to get into the music on that as well because I pay attention to a lot of small details. Even doing the Boondocks, they had some good music that they had key moments of what they played, even though you couldn't get it in the stores or it wasn't mainly mainstream. But it's just a little bit of variety of what I like, even to what I watch and what kind of games I play and books I read. I'm my brain is circulated in everything, even this show. Like I said, because I related with the main character the most, and I'm about to get into that as well. I think no, the six main characters of this show is of course the actor Benjamin McKenzie's character Ryan, who's a good actor by the way. He's actually now in Gotham playing Commissioner Gordon, and I heard very good reviews about the show and about him. But I personally haven't sat down and watched the show because I've been so busy lately, and of course I'm committed to The Walking Dead, and I was waiting for a show like that to come out for a while, and now they decided to do it. I guess because of what Nolan did with the Batman trilogy, of how they pretty much did a Batman piece without Batman being in there yet. Yeah. So, and I somewhat call that after reading Sin City, and I was like, this is just like a hardcore Gotham. But I'm talking about Batman now, so I should get back on point. Um, who else? Peter Gallagher's in this as Ryan's attorney and eventually legal guardian, and his wife Kelly Rowland. Uh, Adam Brody that plays Seth, which is their biological son, and Ryan and him are pretty much brothers. Mischa Barton as the girl next door, love interest for Ryan, and Summer Roberts, played by Rachel Bilson, as Seth's love interest, and all these characters are pretty much the core that are focused on in the first couple of seasons, and again drastically to me, if you sit and watch it, things change really quickly of when Ryan is there. So Ryan comes from a poor background, of wealth, and he suddenly hits a rich jackpot. But then later on in the story, when he hooks up with Marissa, it does a complete 180 for her because she has a she what they were looking for while writing and casting the character, they went against the traditional Southern Californian, blonde beach kind of chick. They went for, a little bit of the mysterious type that really didn't flare out there. She had what they said, a heartbreaking beauty about her. But at the same time, with most people that come from wealth, to be honest, not everything is glitz and glamour. There's some personal issues there 9 times out of 10, and I give them credit if they lack empathy for people who do not have, or isn't as fortunate. And sometimes if I'm caught in the moment, well, not in the moment, but I can catch this if a person of wealth is really doing this for empathy because they have empathy, or they're doing it for pity points. And sometimes I don't want to hear this shit because that's how much of a bubble they live in this world, that all of a sudden they now just have their eyes open to the misfortune. The unfortunate who aren't, as blessed and wealthy as they are. And, it's really open ended, with that piece of that discussion. And you can ask me questions about it. We can discuss it in the comment box. But a character like Ryan on here, he has a good analogy I can say for it is that he kind of reminds me of Toretto from Fast and the Furious. He would do anything to protect the people that he cares about. And he will literally give you the shirt off his back. He really has a lot of heart, and usually they say it's supposed to be the other way around, of how poor people don't have a heart and the rich people do. But when I was a kid, that's what I thought growing up. But the more and more I noticed things, I noticed it was a complete flop. And they were even saying, most, if you were poor and the more money you get, yeah, the less likely you'll be able to give. And I admit I kind of fell under that point. But it is a choice what you want to do 9 times out of the 10. The other day, I gave a woman $20, and one part of me didn't want to do it because I really didn't believe her story. But at the same time, it is what it is. It would, and the situation I was locked in too. She asked me for money when I was really going to the bank just to get $20. To break it so I can have bus fare, and I end up pulling out 40 and giving her 20. And I was pretty much semi-peed about it because out of all the people there waiting at this particular line in Wells Fargo, you come up to me. And I recently found out that you can license the panhandle. But again, I'm kind of jumping off topic. If you want to talk about that, we can go ahead and talk about it. But with this series, I was pretty much happy that I saw the whole thing because it only had 4 seasons, and I'm not going to talk about all 4 seasons. I'm going to talk about each one, of course, individually because I actually own all of them, despite that some of the discs won't work. But I've seen literally every episode, and it's funny how so many small social cues come back to my life a little bit. I had, experiences of being a social outcast or not being accepted. And I think it's because, and my ego may be stroking this a little bit, it's because I thought differently, not just, well, I'll take that back. I not only thought differently, but I thought way ahead of my time, and I was watching the whole documentary that was on here about the real OC of how, how they have rivalries or whatnot from where you're from. And down here in Atlanta, that subliminally, at one point, that was kind of an issue with certain people. Like they try to start shit if you were like from New York or you were from Miami. Pretty much if you if you weren't from ATL, you weren't accepting in the group. At one, I knew in middle school and high school it was like that a little bit. Yeah, but us as human beings, and of course being in high school, there's some kind of drama that's got to be stirred up to keep people occupied, and that's how I see it now. Because even if you were from ATL, if you weren't from Bankhead or Buckhead or the South Side, it's always you're gonna have some problems with some people, and which was the stupidest thing I ever heard. Had to keep myself saying the F word because it kind of reminded me of you know, back in Tupac and Biggie's day, East Coast versus West Coast. And I'll admit I listened to more Pac's music than I did Biggie's, but that whole thing that escalated the way it did because two rappers, it was an issue, and then all of a sudden everybody else had to dig in. But it's just some of the things as human beings that even writing in this show, right now it may seem kind of dumb or it was over dramatized, but in Orange County and certain places in America that are communities like that, that's how people think. And I'm definitely going to get into much more detail, a little bit, somewhat of a. I'm gonna try to be semi spoiler free when it gets to season 2 and 3, because one of the dumbest things that these people went against in the community, the writing wasn't dumb, but the thought process of how people do this was of this particular issue was dumb. And kind of reminded me of a little bit of an outside controversy of this show a little bit. And the controversy was they even talk about it somewhat. Well, it was more of a public announcement in season 3 of the whole teen pregnancy thing. And this show came out right around when that climate statistic of teen moms was on the horizon. And the controversy was that some parents were mad. I bet you some of the rich parents that watched the show, they were pretty much pissed about they were promoting, teen moms or sex between teenagers. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, that's pretty stupid because, number one, we're people anyway. We have needs that need to be fulfilled regardless of what religious background you are. Yeah, my issue is that don't be hypocritical about it, but at the same time, you take steps, and if you made this mistake, if it's a moral mistake, don't do it again. And again, I'm not going to get to the whole religious factor, but that's what it is, and that's a whole topic just on its own, because I can talk about that one as well, because there's another YouTuber on here that he exposes it and he's getting death threats over it. So, but yeah, I know some people were more mad about that, and then ironically they had a show on MTV called Teen Mom, and I was thinking, if this was out today, they'd probably be more. I don't know who they would get more angry and frustrated at the most. The reality show that's pretty much promoting it, or this fictional drama TV show that is someone making a public announcement of how it isn't good because, Ryan, one of the cliffhangers of how the season ended was that he pretty much impregnated his ex-girlfriend that showed up back in the picture. And thankfully, it was, I'm still keeping it spoiler free. It didn't turn out that, what they thought it was, right around what it was revealed in season 3, who the real father was. But the climate statistic was also, it wasn't with Ryan, but later with the paternity battle between Marissa, her mother, and her father, and the mom is pretty much was a scandalous bitch, like to the hardcore. But the dad, he wasn't righteous either. He was a financial advisor that stole money to pretty much pay for all the little trinkets and stuff to keep his wife happy. And that was just a messed up bag all by itself, But, I give, the mom a little bit of empathy points because later she does say in season 2, I didn't really marry you for the money. I married you because I did love you. And then the money and trinkets on top of that, that's what clouded her judgment, which I'm assuming thinking about it right now. But this is a pretty good series, if you don't want too much. I really recommend it for like teenagers in high school, that might like junior and seniors, mostly if they were outcasts and they could relate. But that's pretty much it. Season two, possibly I'm gonna try to get more about into the story a little bit more, and also the music on the show as well. The music on it was really good. Like I said, they had an independent band, Beastie Boys. One of their songs was featured in the Hallelujah song. I can't remember who the artist was, but I heard it before on Shrek, and it was another TV show. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Talk to you guys later. Peace.